Hello guys, this is Subase. Sorry for not uploading a video for the last update, I'll explain more at the end. But for now, we have a relatively unassuming update. New event story, freebies, banners, etc. But far into the future, one of the banners mentioned in this update has one Memoria that becomes one of the most used and most valuable in the game. So, without further ado, let's take a look at it. Starting from April 18th, we'll have the upcoming side story event focusing on Maruyama's butler and 31 Epsis leader, Yanagi, that is the Little Empress in the Peaceful Breakfast event, a story that will make you appreciate both the growth of Kanata and Yanagi. Though since this is basically a sequel to the Your Up Shorties Big Operation U140 event, I recommend reading that first before hopping onto this one. Next is an event story recommendation period for That Day's Friend. The friend from That Day event. Rather, I always mix up JP terms anyways. If you haven't, enjoy that story as well and take advantage of the 3 times event token bonus in the event stages. Now for the freebies. First is the usual 10-day login from Asami. But instead of life stones, it's another 10 platinum recruitment tickets. Basically another free 10 pool for new Memoria banners that aren't limited. And lastly, Nanami is back with another powertrain campaign. As always, complete the missions, get the materials, and hopefully a bunch of quartz for the final mission. For Anachrony, oh fucking boy! Hard mode chapter 3 Flatland is finally here. Keep in mind, like the battle in chapter 3, this will have both phases 1 and 2. No phase 3, but that's a different story. Phase 1 is weak to all elements, while phase 2 is only weak to light and dark. So make sure to either take advantage of having 2 team slots or conserve your attack buffs and actual attacks if you're just using 1 team. Good luck. This is arguably the hardest Anachrony Ian has received so far. Then the week after, they'll go easy on us by looping back to Death Slug. For score attack, challenge number 13, Indomitable Heart, as usual, here on screen are the multiplier conditions for the next 2 weeks. My tip for this boss is simple. Don't fucking wait for the multiplier conditions for week 2. It's gonna fucking suck for you. So do it immediately in week 1. Unless you're a masochist, but that's another thing. Now we get to the banners. It's 2 new Memoria banners with 3 new SS Memorias. The banner with only 1 new SS Memoria featured as the rate up has free daily pools, up to 14 pools if you log in every day during the banner's run. Though sadly, because of that, there's no shared spark between the 2 banners. Very sad indeed. Now, the first new banner is tied to the event, featuring once again, Yanagi. But instead of doing butler duties, she is biking. And the Iro lady herself, Myaa-san. The former nighttime chill Yanagi is a dedicated butler and healer who's best for gaining DP with a 150% overheal, 30% more than the overheal of Miss Masochist Runner of 31E. Though if you decide to get this Memoria specifically, healing is her only role unless you have her SS1 introjection, in which case you can add that 1 use party charge buff from her SS1's EX skill as her other versatile use. The other Memoria, Vulpine Mystique, Myaa, is a debuffer and basically if the long-term investment I mentioned about Fubuki came early. Her EX skill gives 2 turns of defense down and 2 turns of fragile, just like Fubuki's. But Myaa gets the misfortune debuff from her non-EX skill, whereas Fubuki gets it only when her EX skill is used in overdrive. On top of that, Myaa also gives herself an additional turn through that same non-EX skill. As things are in EN right now, I would definitely recommend Myaa SS2 over Fubuki SS1, but in the future, once Myaa SS1 gets her upgrade, plus her master skill and Fubuki getting her SS2 and tower upgrade, they'll be more or less become side grades of one another. Myaa SS2 will still probably see more use since if you get her master skill, she gives 2 plus SP to your whole squad every time you use her EX skill, and that's on top of the permanent defense down you can get from SS1's upgrades. On the other hand, Fubuki might be your go-to general buffer if you want a faster clear, since her SS2 non-EX skill gives 75 plus 25 OD if you use both the skill uses of that non-EX skill. And her SS1 tower upgrade gives her EX skill that defense down for 2 turns, similar to Myaa. And basically, if you're building for a light team, go with Myaa SS2 with SS1's introduction. And if you're going for a dark team, stick with Fubuki SS1 with SS2's non-EX skill. Now, with those upgrades, both are used in future content, prevalently in something that isn't tied to element teams, and that is none other than Pierce crit teams. And the next Memoria is one of the DPS in those team compositions, and that is Fragrant Dreaming Bird Inorin, who is an attacker and is honestly the worst, and I mean the worst damage dealer released in year 2 of JP. Like, she's so fucking cool aesthetically, like look at her, but her kit, straight up garbage. Her EX skill costs 18 SP, and to really get the most out of it, you will need to rely on her non-EX skill that gives self-charge and crit rate up. On top of that, she doesn't have an element in the current elemental meta, which makes her even less worth pulling in her current state. It's really just rough. She would be a pain to use if you get her. But, and this is a big but, what we will have right now is pre-buff Inorin SS2. Once she gets her buff though, she basically becomes the biggest Pierce crit damage dealer in the game in terms of raw damage. Sure, she's slower to get to that big damage than the likes of Kaito, Irene, or Sumoma SS3, her other Pierce crit DPS contenders, but she more than makes up for it with how much damage she can pump out. The buff that she gets later on not only makes getting to 18 SP way easier since she adds plus 2 SP to herself at the start of battle if she's in the vanguard, but most importantly, also gives her Pierce crit if she has the charge of her non-EX skill with her HP modifier becoming permanent. And with those changes, she becomes the go-to pick for basically all content in JP except Skortak. Though unless the multiplier condition isn't too brutal for long-term clears, you can use her there too, because she can just skill spam everything to death. So yeah, pre-buff Inorin is a pain, but post-buff Inorin is fucking cracked. From an elemental perspective, Myaa SS2 is a strong candidate to pull, especially if you have her SS1 to get some really good use out of her as a light team debuffer. She's also considered a long-term investment as her SS1 upgrade and master skill is still yet to come in global, making her use in light team even more valuable later on. Since the other two Memorias are without an element, from a general/common perspective, Yanagi is essentially only useful if you want her for the healing and nothing else. Myaa is another good Memoria for general content, not strictly for her light element team needs on release, since the defense down, fragile, and misfortune debuffs are general debuffs, not elemental. And my clear-cut recommendation for pulling priority until the first override element Memoria comes around is Inorin SS2. Again, on release she is shit and may not be appealing to go after right now, but when her buff gets implemented, boy, you're gonna get a lot of use out of her, more than you can imagine. Lastly, forgot to mention, she also deals AoE damage, and the strong kind. Yeah. Though, as always, if you love the characters, their artwork, or want their specific abilities, feel free to pull for them. One more Memoria worth mentioning in this update is Hidden Effort Matsuchiro, one of the few notable S Memorias in the game. It's also the welfare Memoria from Yanagi's event, so it's free, which is always a plus. What makes it stand out is its skill, which gives one use of self-hit count up or funnel to herself. When you combine that with Matsuchiro's SS1's 10-hit AoE EX skill, it turns into a 15-hit AoE attack. If there are 2 enemies on the field, that hit count goes up to 30, and with 3 enemies, it jumps up to 45 total hits. While the main goal isn't necessarily to deal massive damage, unless the enemies are weak to dark, blunt, or bolt, the real strength of this setup is in how much it can rapidly build your overdrive gauge, making it a really useful tool in the right scenarios. We have one more banner running alongside the new Memoria banners, and it's the Ice type featured recruitment. As always with these kinds of banners, they are skipped, nothing else needs to be said. And lastly, once again, I'm very sorry for not uploading a video for the last update. I was sick, and my throat was basically the thing stopping me from making one. Not to mention doing some personal stuff as it's almost the end of the academic year for me, but mostly the form. I just hope I can provide y'all with quality HBR news uploads moving forward. And yeah, that's the end of the video. I guess we subscribe and no notification bells to my videos. Just for friend and watch these videos next video. So yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.